Welcome to Hey Dr. Sue. So people submit their sex questions to me anonymously, and once a week I post one question and one answer. Do you have a sex question you've always wanted answered? Go ahead and check out the description for information on how to submit it anonymously.
This week's questions are: did the sexual revolution of the 70s lead to a morality decline in the US? Is sex morally neutral? There's a lot to these questions, so let me do this piece by piece. I'm gonna start with the second question. I believe that sex is morally neutral, and there are probably people who don't agree with me. For me, sex is neutral, and then society attaches values to all things sex related. That can include saying that some behaviors are good and that some are bad, like who you should have sex with. Many Judeo-Christian cultures say that sex within marriage is okay. So that means that in those cultures, sex outside of marriage is not. In all the things I've read, the one thing I consistently see is that every single culture has rules around sex. Every single one. But those rules are not the same from one culture to another. And most cultures aren't stagnant when it comes to sexual values. They change over time. And I think that's what happened after the 1970s. It's not that there was a morality decline, it was that the moral view of things shifted. In the 1960s in mainstream America, women were expected to have one sexual partner, their husband, and they were supposed to get married right after high school, which meant that most women didn't really have an opportunity to get a college degree. They were also supposed to stay married no matter what. It didn't matter if there was infidelity on his part or any type of abuse, she was supposed to stay in that marriage. Today, there's an increase in women who are choosing not to get married or even be in a committed relationship. And we're seeing more women leaving marriages that are not healthy. We're seeing an increase in women who are getting college and graduate degrees. And we're seeing an increase in the number of women who are either choosing to delay having children or who are choosing not to have children at all. While some people might see these changes in women's choices as straying from what might be considered more morally, quote unquote, acceptable, others would argue that this is progress. What I always find interesting is that when people will look at a specific behavior like premarital sex and they'll say, back in the day, whenever that was, that didn't happen. But that's almost never true. Premarital sex has always existed. So has extramarital sex. There have always been people who engaged in a wide variety of sexual behaviors, including BDSM. And there have always been people who practiced consensual non-monogamy. We just didn't talk about it as openly as we do now. Same thing with people who are LGBT plus. They always existed, just wasn't safe for them to come out. So I would ask you, do you think that a society that has allowed its members to live their best lives, one that has changed into a place where we can openly acknowledge that we're all different and that different people might want different things, is that a sign of a morality decline or one of society evolving? If you want to listen or watch more about this, you might want to check out an episode I did on my podcast, Unzipping Taboos, Candid Conversations about Sex on this, called Sex, Power, and Control When Freedom Becomes a Threat. There's a link in the video description. Two favors for anyone listening to this. Since these Q&As are based on actual questions that are asked either live or through my website, can someone please ask about what gender-affirming care is? And also ask about how people could have existed back in the day if the language is new, like pansexual or trans? Thanks. Until next time, be safe and have fun.
Did you like that video? If so, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when new videos come out. Also check out the description to find out how to find me on Instagram, Medium, and Threads. And make sure to check the description for links where you can submit your own sex question.